fun to give these reports like this, isn't it?
Yes,
I mean,
it is. Lots of fun.
When we're at a place where we've got great numbers, where we've got a healthy market, some things we're going to talk about that we've seen really in the last 4 weeks that we didn't even anticipate. This is fun. Yeah. So let's start this way, Price. Let's talk about kind of where we were heading into COVID, just kind of a little bit of a background maybe of where we were heading into this first quarter, that kind of information. Then we'll talk about where we are.
Sure, sounds good. Thank you, Jimmy. Looking back, if we back up even a little further, maybe into 2019, starting in May of 2019, our market, which I consider south of Highway 98, from one end of 38 to the other, really started to break out. There through February, 7 of the 9 months had set all-time records in terms of in the number of transactions closed for that particular month. So we were really experiencing a very strong market through the second half of 19, first couple months of 20 was really strong.
Right. Yeah, and to give that an idea, when you have record number of transactions, we really are at a place where the market is agreeing on value. In other words, you have sellers that are agreeing to sell at a price that buyers are willing to pay. And so that's a healthy market.
Yes.
When you start seeing numbers of transactions, it's extremely healthy. Then we have the pandemic, and we have everything that happens on our beaches, from closing the beaches down for a month. We have no short-term rentals. We have them literally stopping people at the state lines and fighting people to try to get here with everything going on in the world. Uncertainty. So there we have a time frame where we see March and April with a little bit of uncertainty. How do we end up, though, like with the April numbers to kind of head into May?
Well, Jimmy, looking at that, you say a key word there, uncertainty.
Yeah.
That historically speaking, when there's been uncertainty, it drives people to real estate. When we see uncertainty in the macroeconomic world, specifically the stock market, it has driven people into real estate. Wasn't quite sure that was going to happen this time. Right. It was such a different thing with the pandemic, but lo and behold, to my shock and just being in awe over it, we saw that transpire again. After whatever it was, about 6 months of kind of slowing down to that week of about the 24th of March. We started to see pending contracts increase week over week from that point forward. To get where we are now, which is, in a place that I'm not sure I've ever seen our market as strong as it is now in 20 years of doing this and, 30 some years and living here.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've never seen, especially the amount of the health of it, the amount of cash transactions. I mean, I know, our office alone, we had a 2 or 3 week stretch there where we had almost $30 million worth of cash transactions for $1.5 million purchases. And cash doesn't panic. Cash doesn't, when we're looking at the strengths we saw of the different types of markets, if we look at the strength or the acceleration of closings and transactions we saw 2003, 4, into halfway into 5, what we saw really was we saw just acceleration in transactions. We've seen that.
Yes.
The difference is in 2000, in that time frame, it was all 100% financing, negative amortization. So consequently, you have a 5% downturn in average sales price in 2005, and everybody's upside down. We also saw the health of 2011, 12, 13, where it was 60% of cash transactions.
No, you're exactly right, and that is, that's our foundation. Whereas to your point of that, leverage that we had in the market in the, middle 2000s, and then the big correction we had, you're so right in that 10, 11, 12, 13. There were so many cash transactions that just laid this foundation that's really, I'd never seen anything like that. And then now what we're experiencing, whatever, call it the latter part of March, April, May, and now the beginning of June, we're seeing, probably a higher percentage of that, of cash transactions. And they're focused on the high end of the market. It's just, I'm amazed. It is phenomenal.
It's like we take the last few cycles and we take the best characteristics of those upswings, and we've got them all kicking right now.
In spades, yeah.
Yeah, which is amazing. And that leads us to June. Let's talk about, because we're in June now, so we're talking a little bit, hypothetical based on pending contracts that we're seeing. What have we been seeing pending contracts as far as the numbers and what we anticipate for June?
Well, I mean, first to look at just where we are. Let's back up just a second and say, where are we through June 9th
Yeah.
so far this year, because we have the COVID slowdown and all that. I think it's important to look at that and say, gee, when we compare sales of homes
Yeah.
on 30A from January 1st to June 9th, and then compare that to all of 19.
Right.
We're up on average price 17% for the first 6 months and 9 days, or 5 months and 9 days of 20 over all of 19. That is more than double the rate of appreciation we've seen on average from 2010 through 2019. So we're seeing a big acceleration there. One. Two, when we start to look at inventory, we see that it's clipping off at 2 sales to 1 new listing.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a lot of pressure on inventory and subsequently price.
Right.
And I don't mean me. I mean
Yeah.
the average price.
Yeah.
It's just it's. I've not seen this since 2003 and 4. This type of velocity of sales, and what makes this different is a large percentage of these sales are focused on the highest end of our
Right.
of our market. That's what's really skewing this average price, up so quickly. Is there's just it's just I'm just amazed at the amount of activity in the top end of our market.
Yeah, and with the activity on the top end of the market, it could be a little bit reflective of some of the middle price range and others that maybe are, maybe there's some potential there for some opportunity for people that they aren't seeing 17% increases in values. And so there are still pockets of the market. I mean, I know you can speak to that if anybody wants to call you, on where we're seeing pockets of the market where there's opportunity on both the buyer and the seller side.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you own a property and you're thinking about selling in the next 2 years, you always want to sell into strength. In 26 years in the real estate business, in this market, I've never seen the strength we've got on the top end as far as the ability to sell into strength for an upper end price point. Let's talk a little bit about that pending contracts now. So what does June look like? What does June look like? Because we know kind of where we were.
June looks to be a historic month. The total number of pins, that's just changing. What I know right now is we're looking at a volume of sales that are higher than any month we've seen ever.
Yeah.
Historic month. It's going to be a record-setting month.
And to talk about where those are coming from. Here's the thing. I mean, we've been talking about this since really the day one of our area is now more attractive than ever. Everything that made it attractive before is now more attractive. Talk about some of the stories of people you've talked to from some of these metropolitan areas.
Well, I mean, Jimmy, I've been showing property to people that are from New York City and other points, Chicago, that are, in the asset management world. Some knew of this area. Some have never heard of this area who left, the town in which they lived. Most left early March, have been down here, have rented. Some are not leaving. They have bought a place and are staying, and others are looking for places to buy now so they can have a place here now that they've kind of found paradise, to use their words. It's just it just blows me away with the amount of people that have flocked here from metropolitan areas over the last 2 to 3 months.
Right, and it speaks to the health of the market. These are not people that are like, I'm going to buy this as an investment and hold it for 3 years and hope that the market price will go up. These are people that are buying legacy type properties. Homes they anticipate to use themselves, and a lot of it, at least in my personal experience, have been more people that are not even considering renting the properties, which we've seen a big influx in over the last 7-8 years. We're seeing now a lot of people that are buying for their own personal use, primary residence, or just straight second homes, which that can then affect obviously the rentals going forward. It gives us that more ability to see more people coming in, and it's just it's feeding itself right now. So
it is.
This is an exciting time. What we're experiencing, really, like you said, we've never experienced this here, and obviously. There are certain areas when you have disruptions, you have change, you have a change in the new normal, so to speak, that you'll hear people say sometimes, which is kind of scary. But when you hear that, what's affecting financially all of our country, all of the world in reality, there are winners and there are losers region-wise. We look to be a big winner.
Yes, we do.
And this is an exciting time.
It is.
Listen, guys, if you guys want more information on kind of what you're seeing, where the pockets of opportunities are, give Price a call. Give me a call. This is a great time for you to really dive down and now more than ever, you need someone that's going to be a professional that's going to be able to share with you not just what's going on now, but historically speaking, how this affects and what this looks like into the future potentially. So, hope this has been helpful, and we'll talk to you soon.